I must admit, after that introduction, I still have absolutely no idea why I'm here, especially following Jeremy, who clearly is a reason for him being here. I really have no idea what I'm doing. Most of the time I make things up. Most of the time I just suck it and see. But I think if I was to ask everyone in the room here today who's doing a similar sort of thing, they would probably agree that they're not experts either. They're not gurus, they're not social media ninjas. There's no such thing. And I think that's something that's really important to note, is in this industry, it's growing so quickly, it's changing so fast, and it's so young, we still don't know what we're doing. So, having said that, what I want to do to you today is just share my experiences. Share a little bit of, and I don't want to use this word, but I'm going to have to do it and go all biggest loser on you, share my journey with you about how I got to where I am today, but more importantly, how Essendon got to where they are today. Now, the entire irony of it all is I'm not going to use any digital or any computers, any videos, any slides. It's going to be just me talking to you, and we're going to interact a little bit. So what I'd like you to start with is under your seat, there are some gifts for you. So if you could look under your seat, there's about 8 little items, so don't lose them all. Those at the back, there are plenty down the front. So if you'd like to come down the front, pick up a pack and move towards the back, that's more than welcome. So let's get up, move around, stretch those legs, come and get a pack if there's not one under your seat. I should have guessed most people wouldn't sit in the front couple of rows while we're putting them out. While we're moving around the room, it's important to note today that they would have been in show bags. We had show bags for everyone. We packed them all yesterday, and the entire staff complained about the smell in the office. And we discovered that because they're biodegradable, green, eco-friendly show bags, they stink. So we brought them in today. They smelt the room out. We got rid of the show bags so we could all breathe today. If you don't get one, it's not overly important, but we hope that you do. So apologies for them being loose. So there's a few people in the room, and I'd like to first call upon, perhaps we'll go with Kate Balm from Netball Victoria. You here, Kate? Kate, what have you found in your little gift pack? Okay, so Kate's found a picture of some glasses. And what we've got here, you've got a social media toolkit to take back with you to your work. And the glasses, they represent making sure that you have a vision and a long-term strategy. There's no point just jumping on the next big thing, just jumping in and giving it a go. You have to have some reasons behind it. You have to have some vision and some strategy. And in terms of what we've done at Essendon, we've had a 2-year strategy to get to where we are today. And that's probably why I'm here today, is just to talk a little bit about this 2-year strategy. So 2 years ago, the then CEO, Peter Jackson, decided that they wanted to get some staff engagement across multiple platforms and some buy-in to some of the strategy across the organisation. So what he did is he decided to develop what we called action learning groups. So within the staff, they chose 6 or 7 emerging leaders or people who they wanted to get involved with and said, right, here's a strategy from the board. We would like you, as a group of 6 to 7 people, work on this for 6 months. Outside of your existing roles, outside of work hours, develop your skills, but come back to the board and give us some recommendations. So first of all, we've gone, You Beauty, they appreciate what we're doing at the club. They can see we've got some emerging leadership skills and they believe in us. So we've all been very motivated and empowered to get involved. But what the strategy that I was part of was called the virtual connection strategy. Absolutely no idea what the hell virtual connection is supposed to be. That was part of the mandate. Go and find out what that is. So there was a group who worked on virtual connection for 6 months, and there was a group who worked on match day engagement, what we do with our fans on match day. So for 6 months, 6 people in each group worked together in a team out of hours or sometimes during hours on a strategy to present back to the board saying, this is what we think Essendon should be doing within this space. So immediately they had some engaged people within the organisation. It also came from the board. So we had a mandate from the board to be looking into this. We had buy-in from the top at a top level. Having said that, we then had to go and convince them to spend some money. So that was how it all started for me. I was a graphic designer at Essendon. Been there for a couple of years, loved my job, loved the organisation. But I then started to realise how important this space was going to be for our club and for me as an individual to develop my career. So I became really passionate about it. And the organisation saw my passion, saw how willing I was to get involved and put together this strategy. Now, it wasn't the greatest strategy in the world. It was an 80-page document, so it was fairly meaty. Most of it was appendices saying, this is what the Phoenix Suns are doing, how brilliant are they? This is what the Indianapolis Colts are doing, or Manchester City in the UK. So what we did is we learned what other people were doing, and we provided case studies for our management to understand exactly where we were going. So that's how it all started at Essendon. We had some long-term vision. We had some glasses. We had people who wanted to know where we were heading in the future. So there's a couple of other people in here. Heath Evans, where are you, from Vic Sport? Can you tell me what you've got in your show bag? Okay, so there's some alphabet letters amongst your little gift pack, and they represent that you have to become multilingual. You need to talk different languages to different people. You need to know how to go to the board and say, this is what I'd like to do. So you need to talk about return on investment. You need to show the case for what's going to happen. You need to talk about what other organisations have done successfully and how that can translate to your organisation, which is what we did at Essendon. You need to know how to talk to your fellow staff members. The amount of times people come to my desk and go, oh, Jono, you're on Facebook again all day. I need to deal with those sort of situations and explain exactly what I'm doing in language for my fellow colleagues. You need to learn how to speak to the fans in this space. And while I say speak to them, you need to learn how to listen to them as well. And Jeremy was talking a little bit about that two-way conversation. I'm sure that will come up all day, every day today. Two-way conversation is what it's all about. So you need to learn how to speak the language, but you also need to learn how to listen. And sometimes that's bloody hard. I'll tell you what, 4 losses in a row, a shellacking in Adelaide, it is very, very hard to listen to fans, let alone respond. And we were talking a little bit, Jeremy was talking a little bit about Facebook and how they have fans and inappropriate content. My life has been inappropriate this week. If I start swearing, and it's because it's just been in my blood, just reading some fan comments. And there's a lot of people from footy clubs around here. We have very passionate supporters. And interestingly enough, our CEO, Ian Robson, said the other day, he was quoting JFK, and he said, we don't do it because it's easy, we do it because it's hard. And I sat there going, my God, it's hard at the moment. But you take the good with the bad. We've got 60,000 Facebook fans, which is a huge number in the AFL, a huge number in Australia. So we'll take them when we're winning and we love it and they're all up and about. You've got to make sure you take it when it's bad as well. And what we do to combat that is we try and get involved as much as we can. We try and explain the situation as much as we can. If someone asks a question about what's going on, we will respond and say, no, this is why. So there's a whipping boy at our club. There's a couple of people in this room who'll know who this person is. His name's Henry Slattery, one of the best blokes at our club. I absolutely love the bloke. He's a top bloke. But the fans hate him. And I can't understand why. Obviously, they don't know him, and I know him, so I like him. There we go. Perfect example. So when someone on Facebook yells out they can't play because they use uppercase language and all these exclamation marks, I go back and respond and say, he's much loved at this club. The coaches like him because he does his job every single day. He does what they tell him. He negates the small forward. He bleeds for this club. He puts his body on the line. So we try and get in there and explain a little bit about what's happening in that space and a little bit about that behind the scenes type of thing to try and control the conversation a little bit. So that's what about learning the language is all about, is trying to control some of those conversations that we're having in that space.